I bought the weirdest tech I've ever seen. In this box is a super weird PS5. I have no idea what's going on with it. And this is a weird Segway hoverboard sort of a thing. So in this video, we're gonna see what's going on with both of them. Let's start with the PS5. You've already seen it on the thumbnail. This is my first time actually seeing it in person. Let's see how bad it looks. Okay, I can see some of the tape right there. This thing looked really weird from the pictures. I'm really not sure what I'm getting into here. All right, comes with a power cord. Cool, I guess. And here is the weird part. Look at that. I don't think this is cut or anything, at least it doesn't seem like it. We got a fan on here? So is this thing like overheating or something? It's like this little USB powered fan. Okay, this is weird. Well, let's start this thing up and see if it even turns on. Okay, all plugged in. Let's see if it'll power on. It doesn't beep, but I do hear the fan. That's weird. So the console beeps, but it doesn't beep when I press the power button. Oh, there we go. Okay, repairing console storage. Okay, and it is powering up mostly normally. Now, I'm guessing they taped this all off to hopefully provide some airflow from this fan into the PS5 or out of, I guess, depending on which way it's set up. So I'm thinking this PS5 just overheats and the person that had it was trying to keep it from overheating. That's my guess. Now, looking through the error code history, I don't see any overheating in this entire error code history. There's a lot of errors here too, but I don't see anything about overheating. I'm not 100% sure that overheating would show up here. Either way, it doesn't look like it was overheating based on this, but I think we need to get this thing apart. This is too suspect of overheating. So let's open this up. Let's check heatsink, let's check liquid metal and see if there's anything else going on the inside. But before we take it apart, obviously we've got to take all of this mess off. So sit back and relax. I got a lot of tape to take off. Okay, and this whole mess has now been removed. So I think now I can take this thing apart. Let's see if there's anything going on the inside of this and see if it's been, if the warranty sticker's been removed. That doesn't look that dirty there. So I don't know, might not be too bad inside. But the liquid metal on these, I mean, that's often the problem with overheating with these things. All right, intact warranty sticker. That's great news. So I actually only paid $192 at Goodwill for this, which isn't too bad of a price, assuming that we can get this fully working, or maybe it is fully working. I don't even know. The funny thing about this is I watched this auction 3 different times and I was finally able to buy it the 3rd time. The first 2 times I bid on it, and I think I bid it up to like over $300 and people were still outbidding me even at that price. And even though I make YouTube videos about game consoles, at some point I even have to say that I can't pay that much for it. So the first 2 times they auctioned it off, apparently the person that outbid me didn't actually pay for it because I kept seeing it for sale again, which doesn't surprise me. They were paying a lot of money for a PS5 that we don't even know if it works or not. Okay. Let's see what's going on under the plate. And not really much so far. And now we have to see how the liquid metal is underneath. That's what I'm suspecting might be a problem here. Dry spots on the APU from the liquid metal oxidizing is a super common problem with PlayStation 5s, especially the earlier models. This is not one of the super early models, but I still suspect it might be an issue if this was even overheating, which I'm not convinced it even was. I'm not totally sure why they put that fan in here. Okay, here we go. That's not the worst I've seen. We definitely have some oxidation here and on the heatsink side. Other than that though, this is actually looking pretty good. So I think we got ourselves a pretty good deal on this PS5. So I'm just gonna come in and respread this liquid metal. First, I'm gonna clean off any oxidation on the APU chip. That's what I'm doing right now, and you can see all the liquid metal is moving to the side when I do that. That's fine, we'll fix that in a minute. And this chip doesn't look too bad. It's overall not bad at all. Now the heatsink side. Got a little bit of a mark there, but that'll be fine. Okay, now we'll come in with a syringe and suck up that liquid metal. Put it back on where it's supposed to be. There's that side. Now we'll do the same thing over here. Okay, now we'll just respread it around. Just like that. Now we're ready to go back together. And after this is back together, this PS5 is gonna be done. I'll do a little testing off camera just to make sure it works, but since it worked before we started, I think we're good. Let's move on to the Segway. So this is the Segway Lumo. This retailed for about $1,900. It actually started as an Indiegogo campaign, I think around 2018, and they raised almost $1.5 million. Now I've tried turning it on, I've tried charging it, and it just has no power. So I'm thinking it might be a battery issue. So we got to get to the battery. I think it's probably down here. Unfortunately, I can't really film that well, so hopefully take this cover off and see if the battery's right under here. Hopefully it is. That would be really great if I just took all these screws out on the bottom and the bottom just dropped off. I don't know what the chances are of that, but I feel like I'm actually a little bit hopeful. So the unfortunate part of the Segway Lumo is that they seem to stop supporting it like around 2020. So I'm not sure, like even if I get this battery working, I'm not sure that that's gonna actually do any good. Also, I looked online and apparently these can be locked to user accounts, so that's the other problem. I'm just not convinced that even if we get this fixed, it'll be usable. I sure hope it will be, but I don't know, we'll see. Okay, and, oh, that does just come off, okay. Oh, we got a sealed compartment. I think that takes us right to the battery, but I gotta figure out how I'm gonna show this because this is the battery down here, so. But I think we're in. Gotta unclip this. Oh, that looks like a speaker right there. Okay. So it is cool that it's got this seal around here. This is marketed as like an all-weather transportation device. And they market it as something that could like follow you and carry stuff. So I guess that's why, but that's actually really amazing. They've got a nice sealed off battery compartment there. Oh, we got the board. So we got the board down here and then probably under that is the battery. So I got to figure out how I'm going to do this.
Travel tech is getting smarter and way less messy. Meet your hassle-free travel power kit, the Ugreen Nexode 165 watt retractable power bank. This beast pushes up to 165 watts with a 100 watt output port, charging a 14-inch MacBook Pro to 54% in just 30 minutes. With 2 USB-C and 1 USB-A, I can charge any 3 of my MacBook, iPhone, iPad, or Switch simultaneously. And forget messy wires. This built-in retractable cable stretches to over half a meter and clicks smoothly back into place. With a 20,000 milliamp hour battery, it'll juice up an iPhone 16 over 3 times. And yes, it's airline safe. Plus, the TFT display gives you a full readout of power flow, voltage, and more. Check out this 100 watt retractable cable, and keep in mind they have a 65 watt retractable charger as well. Perfect for everyday carry, clean, compact, powerful. Check out Ugreen Prime Day deals in the description for up to 40% off.
So I got to figure out how I'm going to do this. Okay, so it looks like we have the main board here, or at least a main board. We got the battery connector here, and then all these cables plug into it. So I think what we need to do is remove all these cables, unplug this, pull this off, and then hopefully the battery's under there. Let's find out. I did take pictures of this, so I mean, hopefully these are set up in a way that you can only do this one way, but sometimes they're not. Okay, those are all out. And we got these little tiny connectors in here. Do they unscrew? They just pull out. It's coming. There we go. Okay, so those just pull out. So we'll get those all out. And then we have more over here. Also, I was inspecting the connector here. I don't see any issues with the cables or the connector itself, so hopefully there's no problems there. I don't think there is. This guy comes off like that. Got a couple more down here that are going to be a little more difficult to get off. So I'm gonna get all of this disconnected and then we'll get this plate off. Okay, and with those 4 screws out, this I think comes off. Yeah, there we go. That comes off of there, and then this comes off of this side. Okay, and that plate is off. Now we've got the main board and hopefully the battery underneath that. It's got to be underneath that because this connector goes down here. So let's get that all disconnected now. Let's see if we can get this thing apart the rest of the way. Okay, so 4 screws here, this one, this one, this one, and this one I think maybe need to come off as well. And then I think that whole thing just pulls off. Okay, oh yeah, this is already loose. Okay, that's good. I was worried I was gonna have to pry this away or something. Not that that's a big deal, but I don't necessarily like prying on main boards. Okay. I'm gonna get some pictures of this, make sure I get this thing back together correctly. Okay, these little wires have to go through these channels, so I got to remember how that goes. Okay, and there we have our main board. I don't immediately see any problems with it, so I mean that's good. Like I said, I think it's probably just a battery thing, but how do we get, so this must be the battery because that's where the battery cables are coming from, but how do we get to that? That's like under this whole metal piece? Ah, boy, that's not good. This is all like one molded piece. So that's unfortunate. I was just gonna say how well made this looked and everything. Not that it's not well made, it's just not made to be repaired easily, it looks like. Okay, well, gotta figure out how to get to the battery next. Now, I'm thinking that maybe we don't even need to get to the battery. We have the battery plug right here, so I'm thinking maybe we can just try charging the battery just without getting to it, because it looks like it's gonna be a pain to get to it. This is all one big piece of metal here, so we're gonna have to get this entire thing off to get to that battery. So I'm just gonna see if I can charge it using these leads. Okay, so I was actually able to get the battery pack out. It's not as hard as I thought. There's about 15 screws I had to take out, but this is the setup I have right now to charge it. And don't try this at home. This is just an experiment for entertainment only. This is not the best way to do this, but I have a 60 volt lawnmower, battery powered lawnmower battery. I have that hooked to the battery for the Segway. That's making the battery management system think that there's about 56 volts or so in this battery that is now connected to this battery. Now with that all connected, I can actually plug in the Segway charger and it's charging. So I've got to let this go a while longer, but I actually have hope we can get this working. I think if this battery is fully charged, we might be able to get this Segway working. So it's been charging for over an hour now and it's just got one more bar, but really the main thing is gonna be seeing what happens when I remove the helper battery from this battery. So once it shows it's fully charged, I will remove the cables and then see if it'll still charge on its own without this battery connected. The charging brick is definitely very warm, so I know it's doing its job for sure. And 55.81, so I'm guessing this is gonna charge to 56 volts, but we're still blinking. Still got one bar left. So even though it's still charging, we're at 56 volts. I think it's time to remove this helper battery and see if it continues charging. So what I'm gonna do is disconnect one of these leads to the negative side and we'll watch the meter and see what happens. And disconnected. And disconnected. All of it is disconnected and we're still charging. That's what I was hoping. So I think this just helped the BMS recognize that there's enough voltage in the battery to charge it, and now I'm hoping it's just gonna keep charging all the way up. Only time will tell. I'll come back once it's done charging. Okay, it has stopped blinking, so it should be fully charged now. Let's see what the voltage is. We've got 57.65. Okay, Now we know what fully charged is. I think what I'm gonna do now is unplug this, let it sit overnight to let the voltage normalize, and then we'll see what it is tomorrow and see if we can get this thing back together and try it out and see if it works. Okay, so this battery pack has sat overnight. Let's check and see how much charge it has. The meter says we've got 56.86 volts. Okay, that's great news. But will it charge when we plug it in? This was one of the main problems it had before we started on this repair. It would not charge. So let's plug it in and there we go. It's charging. Okay, I think at this point, I'm gonna get this battery pack reinstalled and get this thing back together and then see if it'll start up and work. Okay, so the battery pack, like I said, it's actually not that hard to remove. I'm actually gonna remove this little pigtail I have plugged in here because it's just got these 2 points right here that can touch metal and short something out. So let's not do that. Okay, so cables all go in here. And then this just goes in, oh, I need to get the cables through. Okay, got it. Now we just got 3 screws on each side. With the battery pack on, the foot pedals, there's 2 kind of like pegs they slide down onto. So this one is gonna slide down right here. Just like that. And then there's screws on the bottom that hold these on. So that's one. Now we'll get this one in. There we go. Now I just need to screw those in and then we can get the board back on. Okay, plugging the battery in. Hopefully we don't let out any magic smoke. I think I heard a pop. I don't know that that's good. I'm not sure what that was. I don't smell anything. Nothing's warm. Okay, let's try and plug it in and see if it'll take a charge. Okay, here we go. Okay, the charging symbol lights up and it just shows fully charged. Okay, now it's charging. Okay, that's good. That's better than what it was doing when we got it. So, got a few more things to put on, and then we'll press the power button and see what happens. All right, I'm pretty sure this is a bad idea, but I'm gonna try and power this on while it's up here. Ready? And it works! That is amazing. Okay, I'm gonna power this thing off before it falls off the table. I can't believe we fixed this weird thing. So we were able to fix both the weirdest PS5 and this weird personal transporter follower thing from Segway without really even too much trouble. If you like this type of video, you'll probably like the video where I bought a broken one wheel to see if I could fix that. I'll put that video up on your screen now so you can come hang out with me over there and see what I found was wrong. Thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.